Welcome to the In My Opinion show with Ronald Berry Robinson and friends. To our viewing and listening audiences, this show will be provocative and thought provoking. We will discuss in our conversations may consist of topics that are unpopular. We will try to provide accurate and up to date accounts of our world and the people that shape those policies and or events. As always, this show encourages you to respond to any material discussed that you may or may not agree with. As always, your opinions do matter. Our email address is, in my opinion, rbr@aol.com. I'd like to introduce our interesting panel. We have Mr. Henry Hatter.
Good evening, Ron.
Good evening. We have Mrs. Tracy Blackwell.
Thank you, Ryan. Hello.
And we have Mrs. Osha Weaver.
Hello, Ron.
Welcome all to the In My Opinion show. On January 20th, 2009, Mr. Barack Obama will be sworn in as the 44th President of the United States of America. He inherits a country that is in deep depression. He inherits a country whose moral and ethical fiber, it seems, has collapsed from the top. Mr. Obama inherits a country whose horrible economic status at home and abroad has not been seen since the Great Depression of 1929, when more than half the country had no jobs and soup lines stretched for miles. He inherits two wars that never should have been waged in the Middle East that seem to have no end in sight. He inherits a healthcare, criminal justice, and educational system that is worse than any of the industrialized nations. He inherits a country whose infrastructure, roads, bridges, rail systems, environment has crumbled faster than George Bush's popularity. Mr. Obama inherits a population of people that have lost confidence in the American system of free enterprise, of government. He inherits a government that has continually lied to the American public about weapons of mass destruction. He has negatively pitted neighbor against neighbor, friend against friend, family against family, in which they say, the government, there is a boogeyman behind every door. He has saddled the American people with terror and repressive laws. He has filled American jails with more than 3 million men, women, and children. Has created the worst deficit in world history. Henry, if you could ask President Obama anything, what would your message be?
I'd say be kind to George Bush. Um, because I believe that everything that's happened to the country is not necessarily belong to George Bush. There's corruption throughout the country, and we don't see it except it's epitomized in government. But it's in all of us. We want to maximize the dollars that we get from any purchase or any investment. That's in all of us. If you leave money at a table without oversight, we would probably take it. And it's in us. And we teach this, and our kids emulate us. But with respect to the Middle East and some of the other areas that the United States has problems with today, I would say that it's terrible times now, and resources are declining worldwide, and we know that we need oil, and the Middle East is the largest source of that oil. And so there was some necessary responsibility of the president to ensure that we have the resources that we have to run the largest, most complex environment in the world, economy in the world. And I think that George Bush tried to do that. I think he made some mistakes. I think, but not all of which are his. And we have many, many agreements that have been made by many, many administrations in years past, since the Second World War, that we have to honor and agree, like GATT and NAFTA and all of those. That we have these alliances. We have to honor those. Those are things that we don't see every day that impact what goes on under the table or behind the wall. Those are things that the president will have to deal with. With respect to Barack Obama, I think that Barack Obama would be a great president. I think he would be a two-term president. This is what I really believe. He had 20% of the Republican vote, almost like a mandate. Like, if you remember, um, back in the 80s, when they had Ronald Reagan, remember the Reagan Democrat? Well, Barack Obama has the same opportunity to reestablish dominance in the United States as Ronald Reagan had and Abraham Lincoln had. See, it's the times and the opportunities that could make Barack Obama great. Without these challenges, he could never be great. He has to have something to build upon, something to change, something that people want to do. And I believe that there's a challenge out there. Now, if he can put together the team and stay focused on it, on the mission, he will be a great president. And we will all be very proud of him. And so will the generations following him. He will certainly achieve goals that only a few presidents have ever achieved. So, and I will be there at the inauguration cheering him on.
Oh, excellent.
Excellent, excellent. OSHA, what is your feelings on this statement?
Well, what would I say? What message would I give to Barack Obama? Well, I think that Barack Obama he is going to make a great president. I believe he will because I believe he is trustworthy and he has America's best interest at mind and at heart. And I believe that the American people also feel this way. So, because I believe we feel this way, he will be able to get the American people to help and to cooperate, when he needs them to do so. And so I think that is a big difference between Barack Obama and maybe a lot of previous presidents is that people actually really do trust him. And although he has a lot of work to do, I believe that he can do it with our help and that we will do what is necessary to get back on track. So
Absolutely. Tracy,
Yeah,
thoughts?
I'm
Yeah.
still thinking about being kind to George Bush.
exactly.
Um,
I got a couple shoes you can have.
I think my comment to President Obama would be to just keep doing what you're doing. I think he's doing an excellent job with the way he's putting together his administration and his cabinet. I think it's going to be very exciting to see this cast of people that were not only his presidential contenders, but also people of knowledge in some previous administrations. I think what might be interesting is to is that he fully understands that it's not all, and we understand that it's not all about him. He's got uh, many people in these different positions who are supposed to help him with all these issues. So, delegate accordingly, let people move where their expertise is, and see if we can all lift this boat together. What would be very interesting is at the end of his second term, who will come out looking as polished as he did and can run for election. Now, okay, if all of you ran for election, weren't elected, he was elected, and he gave you a position in his cabinet or in his administration. Were you able to accomplish what you were set out to accomplish? That's going to be the test if they still have interest to run after being elected twice, because I do believe he could be elected twice. He's a smart gentleman, a really smart gentleman. The other thing I would say is focus on domestic policy. Focus on the United States of America right now. Leave the overseas issues to the people in those departments. Get our health care together. I think that's going to be a answer to a lot of problems in our United States as it relates to the economy. Working on our energy crisis. If we can get some answers to that, if he can focus on those, we'll be able to address some of these other issues. And to go back to Henry's point, when George was being bad, I mean when Bill was being bad, at least we had jobs.
Well,
Okay.
he had Monica Lewinsky.
Yeah, yeah. Now, now as you know, I was John McCain's county chair against Barack Obama.
Hmm.
Okay, so you have gone a long ways. Barack Obama has risen a lot in this country as a leader. When you get 20% of the Republican vote, and you get a former chair of John McCain is now sitting here at this table applauding Barack Obama. That says a lot. At least we hope that in America, once you're elected, you leave the person elected to govern the country, because that's what democracy is. It's the rule of the majority. But when I get these nasty notes from people, and Barack Obama has not even served one day in the White House, has signed nothing into law, who criticize him,
Mhm.
I'm disappointed. And but I think that that's happened to George Bush too. So that's happened a lot. But when it in this case, I see what perhaps George Bush did go through with. But I will not apply the same technique to Barack Obama. Give him a chance.
Mhm.
Let him be there. And I, like Ms. Blackwell says, let us focus on domestic policy. This is not the first time that I've talked about that. I talked about it before, that we needed to focus on domestic policy. We need to put people back to work, and he's got a good plan for that, much like the WPA they had in the 30s. We need to focus on health care, on education, and Social Security. We need to stabilize those. And even after all of this is not enough to stabilize the country. This is only the beginning. Barack Obama will never work us out of what we face right now, but he will stabilize the situation for the next 8 years, and then perhaps, as he says, Barack Obama says, we as Americans will have to uh, take a lot. We got to bear a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and we got to make sure that we accept a lot to make things better. And so I believe that. And I believe that that's a good message for the country, not just for one segment of the country, but for all segments of the country. You need to toe that line.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I think when we talk about infrastructure, the WPA program, like program that he's supporting and going to see how he can implement, I think we really do need to, in our share, to toe the line or help out or dig deep and assist him in his trying to work and help America. I think we need to be more entrepreneurial. I think we need to start thinking about ways that we can build infrastructure in our own community and make that a part of the plan that whoever submits, like Jennifer Granholm, they're already talking about what they might propose to the federal administration. She says they're looking at things where dirt can start flying in 160 days.
Mhm.
What are we looking at that we can get done where we can see dirt flying in 160 days and make sure that's a part of her proposal, as opposed to what I think you generally see people do, waiting to see what the
Mhm.
proposal was and seeing that they were left out of the proposal, and now they spend the whole time while those people are getting paid or business or arguing about the fact that they were
Mhm.
left out of the proposal, and the entire time they're still left out of the proposal. So I think
Exactly.
we really need to start thinking about, well, then what does that mean if it were to happen here locally in my neighborhood, in my city, and in my region, in my county.
Well, I'm hoping that Barack Obama send out them stimulus packages.
Well, Ron, I don't think if we go out looking for opportunities that's best for us, segmenting the population of the United States, you will undo everything that Barack Obama is trying to do. If we segment off in terms of gender, age, and race, we
Mhm.
demean the whole process.
Oh, I'm
But
not.
I know
Yeah.
you weren't. I know you weren't.
But I'm just saying the city
yeah,
of Flint should be
yeah.
able to get awarded dollars just as easily as Lansing or Detroit or Grand Rapids. You can certainly believe those cities will not be left out of the plan.
And
Absolutely
you
not.
can be certain that some of those issues that I discussed, age, race, and gender, will play a big part of it, because that's what we know. And Barack Obama says, let's not do that.
Mhm.
Let us work as a united country to solve the problem, because there's a big snowball coming behind us, and that's those unfunded mandates of $59 trillion where will break the government by the year 2045. We will take in less money than we pay out, and this will compound that. We'll probably advance it up a little bit.
Well, I hope we get some more, new creations of new materials that people will buy and purchase, and that'll help us be able to pay for baby boomers.
Well, we're going to change gears at this time. God protects babies and fools, but in this case, he didn't protect the babies. Britain impregnates daughters 19 times. This man should be castrated. A British man was jailed for raping two of his daughters and fathering 9 children over 27 years, a case which echoes of Austria's Joseph Fritz. The two daughters were made pregnant 19 times. There were 9 births, 5 miscarriages, and 5 terminations. 7 of the children are alive but suffer genetic deformities. The father, who cannot be named for legal reasons, banning the identification of his victims, and the surviving children pleaded guilty. He was sentenced to serve 25 life sentences to run concurrent. This is terrible. This is beyond terrible. Um, I mean, words cannot even describe the horror that these children went through. Um, he should have got the death penalty, in my opinion. And I would have been the first one to flip the switch. I would have no remorse whatsoever. OSHA, as a parent, what is your thoughts? I know you have a son, this as a mother and as a parent, this must bother you. I mean, to no one on end.
Yes, Ron, it does bother me. I think this is a very horrible situation. But as much as I would love to say I would sentence him to death if I could, I cannot say that. I am one who does not support the death penalty in any shape, fashion, or form, and that is simply because it this country. I mean, the system is, well, put it like this: minorities, blacks, minorities, Mexicans, they suffer under the death penalty. It's unfair. It's unfairly distributed. So because of those reasons, and because I'm not one for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, I can't go along with the death penalty. I think 25 life sentences would be a suffice punishment for him, only because um, I read an article in online, and it was called the minimum invasion principle. And pretty much what I got out of this article is that when you're punishing someone for a crime that he or she has committed, it is it is unfair to overly punish them. The punishment should reflect, well, the punishment should be what would, it should not be over anything that would deter, it should be only enough to deter that person
Mm-hmm.
from committing this crime again, nothing over. So anything that would deter him from committing this crime again, that should be suffice in punishing him. And I think 25 life sentences, maybe without the possibility of parole or coming back out in the public, would be fine. It's enough.
Well, I hope the boys in the prison system will get a hold of his ass, literally.
That would be
Uh,
nice.
you're a lot more lenient than I would because I would light his ass up in a heartbeat.
Yes.
Uh, Tracy, what is your thoughts?
I guess I would agree with OSHA. Yeah, and for the same reasons, I do disagree with the death penalty as well. But I do believe in a lot of instances that the life that people would lead in prison is going to be 100% more difficult than I think getting off by dying. I really do. And when you think about like Jeffrey Dahmer, he didn't need the death penalty. Justice was delivered to him swiftly, and
Yeah, but
um,
not fast enough after all of those men that he murdered.
well, he
He was hungry.
Well, yeah,
so.
yeah.
But the thing with the Brit, I just you have to think about the madness that was probably in his mind and that he probably equally created in the minds of his daughters. You think about people. What it brought to my mind is this. People who are resilient and people who are able to recognize that they're in a bad situation and get themselves out of it, and how abused these young ladies had to have been to endure this um, over and over. It just seems like there's something innate and natural in us that says, this is wrong.
Henry, what is your feelings
You know,
on this?
amazingly, I agree with the two women. I agree 100% with
And I
them.
thought men stuck
No,
together.
no, I agree with them. In this case, this is not a sane man. Anybody who looks at his daughter and has relationship with his daughter is a madman. It reminds me of something that Edgar Allan Poe would write.
Hmm.
And not only that, but we had a case here in Holly about 10 or 12 years ago where a man had 9 kids by his several daughters. Did you so soon forget that? Happened right here at home. And your viewing audience would be aware of that today.
Mm.
And but I don't say you dismember the man in any way, and I'd say that you put him behind bars so that in an institution where he can live there for the rest of his natural life.
No, because I see. I disagree with you. Why should the taxpayers have to support this guy? Three hots in the cut. And you were talking about anywhere from 30 to $40,000 a year, and could lead to tens of thousands more if he has medical problems.
Well,
This guy ought to be destroyed because he's less than a human being.
it creates jobs.
Well, that's true, but we shouldn't have to pay. We should not have to. The American taxpayer should not have to pay for this foolishness.
Well, I agree, but I don't think that that demonstrates well. I don't think that the general public in this day feel that that death is the answer. And sometimes there are some things that I believe that the death penalty should be used for, but I can't think of any right now.
And then once he's dead, he's gone. He's out of it. He's relieved of it. We still are left with the madness and the insanity of the instance. I'd be interested to know, did this man at Holly get 9 consecutive life terms?
I haven't heard of him since, but there's a case out there that was against him, and you could really pull that up on the internet,
That's interesting.
probably through rape or incest.
They don't treat you kindly in prison when
No,
you
they
do
don't.
rape or things like that.
Special to the In My Opinion show. Unprecedented court ruling in Detroit, Michigan. A 7-year-old boy was at the center of a Detroit courtroom drama yesterday when he challenged a court ruling over who should have custody of him. The boy has a history of being beaten by his parents, and the judge initially awarded custody to his aunt. In keeping with child custody laws and regulations requiring that family unity be maintained to every degree possible. The boy surprised the court when he proclaimed that his aunt beat him more than his parents. He adamantly refused to live with her. When the judge then suggested that he live with his grandparents, the boy cried out that they also beat him. After considering the remainder of the immediate family and learning that domestic violence was apparently a way of life among them, the judge took the unprecedented step of allowing the boy to propose who should have custody of him. After 2 recesses to check legal references and confer with child welfare officials, the judge granted temporary custody to the Detroit Lions, whom the
Don't
boy
beat nobody.
firmly believes is not capable of beating anyone.
Anybody.
Oh,
Good one.
Oh, that's
oh,
terrible.
that's bad.
Not only is Miss Tracy Blackwell our very own co-host on the In My Opinion show, but she's owner of Page's Bookstore in downtown Flint, Michigan. Tracy, tell our millions of viewers worldwide about your goals that you set and a dream that came true with hard work and determination and ownership of your bookstore.
Thanks, Ron. Well, the dream was to have a bookstore downtown, homegrown, family owned. We are trying to be able to service this community, give people something they can be proud of, and we look forward to being able to provide special orders, host events. But we have book clubs, special titles, and things of that nature. So we just want folks to come out and support us so we can be here as long as you are.
Well, you proposed, you talked to me earlier about this, about a book of the month or book of the week.
Right.
How is that? How are you going to do that?
I'll be sharing conversations with some people that I know have read books or share opinions or have expertise about particular books. One of the upcoming, in my opinion, shows, I'm going to invite a few guests to have some conversations about books uh, about positive intention, about positive thinking, about inspiring positive thoughts in the community, and see how we might be able to lift people's morale and intent around some issues like that. So,
Okay, okay, okay. Well, this has been a very interesting and informative 30 minutes. How fast time goes.
mhm,
I guess when you're dealing with real issues.
mhm.
Okay. And I want to thank my co-host, Ms. Tracy Blackwell, Mr. Henry Hatter, Ms. Osha Weaver, for joining us in my opinion show. The In My Opinion show can be reached by email, inmyopinionrbr@aol.com. This is Ronald Berry Robinson and friends saying, the In My Opinion show. Stay